British, Buddhist. Again, Sefirat HaOmer. We're in a period of time where we are refining ourselves in order to receive spiritual insight, spiritual wisdom, spiritual power. And so we said that the Torah is perfect and pure, but you have to have a vessel to receive that. So if you have a cup that has mud in it, and then I've got pure mineral water, and I pour the pure mineral water into the cup with mud, then the water's going to get muddy. It's not the water's full, it's the cup's full. So if you have a vessel that is dirty, and you pour pure water into that dirty vessel, the water's going to get dirty. So too with Torah. Torah is perfect and pure, but if you pour it into a vessel that is not perfect and pure and godly, like an unrefined human being who has bad character traits, then the Torah itself gets not good. The Torah itself says that the Torah is a sama mabes or a sama chayim. It's an elixir of life or an elixir of death. So if you're an unrefined person, you can use Torah to create atrocities and bad things. So we're about to receive the Torah on Shavuot, but we have to cleanse and purify ourselves before we do it. So we said that there are 7 ikar midot, 7 fundamental traits. Now that doesn't mean anger, joy, that means powers with which Hashem created the universe, which are actually the root of all of your character traits. And those are called Sefirat or midot, and they are chesed, which means loving kindness, gevura, which means restraint, strength, boundaries, tiferet, which means harmony, beauty, Netzach, which means perseverance, hod, which means acknowledgement, yesod, which means connection, and malchut, which literally means kingship, but it really is the vessel to receive the energies of the other 6 and bring it into life. So that's why there are 49 days of counting the Omer, because there are 7 powers, and each of the powers has each of the 7 powers within it, because this universe is a holographic universe. So the first week of counting the Omer was the week of Chesed, and there are 7 days of that week. So the first day of the first week is Chesed of Chesed. The second day is Gevura of Chesed. The third day is Tiferet of Chesed. The fourth day is Netzach of Chesed. 5th day is Hod of Chesed. 6th day is Yesod of Chesed. 7th day is Malchut of Chesed. I just wanted to say Chesed. That was the first week. Second week was Gevura, restraint, boundaries. The first day of the second week was Chesed of Gevura. The second day was Gevura of Gevura. The third day, Tiferet of Gevura. The third week was Tiferet. The first day of the third week was Chesed of Tiferet. Gevura, Tiferet, Tiferet. So today we're on the 21st day of the Omer, which is 3 weeks of the Omer, which is Malchus Sheb'Tiferes. It's Malchut of Tiferet. And tonight we're going to be counting the next day, and we're going to be moving into the week of Netzach. So we're going to learn together a little bit about the power of next week, because what's come before will not come again until next year. But we can make the most of next week. And remember, Jewish thought teaches that if you missed out or you missed out, that doesn't mean you're out the game. Just start from now. Some people say, I didn't start counting the Omer, so I'm kind of out. You're not out. Do it from now. I think I told you the story last week of my student who was in yeshiva, and I knew he was very trying to keep Shabbat. Shabbat afternoon, I see him smoking. I said to him, I know you're trying to keep Shabbat. And he goes, no, I turned on the light by mistake this morning, so I broke Shabbat. I said, it's okay, it's still Shabbat. He really thought that he broke, he was out the game. I said, just still in the game. So he's about to put his cigarette out, which is also breaking Shabbat. So I said, just put it down. So he's still in the game.
So what were the 5th and the 6th? It was Chesed,
Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet,
Netzach,
Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut. We could go over them a bit more, but we must understand that these 7 principal energies are why everything in Judaism, many things in Judaism are 7. The universe was created in 7 days. Why 7? Hashem could have done it in 1 day, or 8 days, or 4, because of these. When you wrap your tefillin, you wrap it around your arms 7 times. I think it's 5 and do 8 times. There are 7 days of Pesach, 7 days of Sukkot. There's Ashkenazim walks 7 times around their wife under the chuppah. There are 7 days of Sheva Brachos. There are 7 days of Shiva. There are 7, because there's this completion of all these energies. The way we explained it last week was that Hashem's light is just divine light, which is white. Then it gets shone through a prism and then split up into these energies. So we have to know what is the energy that's really pumping down into the universe at that time, so that we can connect it. So tonight, and for the week after that, we're tapping into the energy of Netzach. What is the energy of Netzach? Basically, Netzach, in modern Hebrew, do you know what Netzach means? Lenatzeach. What is Lenatzeach?
Persistence, no.
Lenatzeach means victory, to win.
I think, yeah.
We say Yachad Lenatzeach, we're going to win. Even in a football, who won? So Netzach means victory, and it really means perseverance, to push forward. Midat HaNetzach, Koach Lenatzeach, is the power of Netzach is connected to this other power called Akshanut. Do you know what the word Akshanut means? Akshanu, stubbornness. Now usually in English the word stubborn is a bad thing. You're very stubborn. But in Judaism we say it can be bad. But there's something called Azud de Kedusha, a holy stubbornness. I'm going to persevere. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do the right thing, even though it's difficult to do. I'm going to, even if I'm not feeling it, I'm going to show up. It's the power to be able to keep pushing forward when it's difficult or when you don't want to. For example, let's say you find it difficult to get out of bed in the morning, but you have a job and you need to get out of bed, and you get out of bed in the morning. That's the power of Netzach. And there's some kind of stubbornness in that. It's like, stubborn means I've got my mind set on something and I'm not movable. So that often is a bad thing. But when you've got your mind set on a good thing and you're not movable, that's a good thing. So there's commitment as well. Now Hod, which we'll talk about next week, is kind of the opposite, it's surrender. It's knowing when to let go. So, and this is a big power in your life. You have to know when to push forward and when to let go. You've got to get that button. You're going to come across obstacles and distractions in your life. Did you know that? You are. Netzach is, I'm pushing forward, I'm not distracted by that. I'm not distracted. I'm moving forward in my life. And it's really, and we'll see this, it's really when it's difficult. When you're moving forward and you're in flow and everything's good and you're going to the gym and it feels good, that's good. That's not Netzach. Netzach is when you're tired and you don't want to, but you show up anyway. Netzach is when you come home from work and you're exhausted and you just lost a business deal and you walk into your house and you're just there for your wife and children. You don't bring your stuff into that. We were speaking about this morning. Strength, inner strength. And it also means that I'm going to take the thing from potential into actuality. I'm going to actualize stuff. Many people start a project and then give up. Or I give up, you know. Netzach is the power to keep going and practice. Anyone you see who's good at it, I tell this to my children all the time. We see, one of our favorite YouTube videos is that guy playing the buckets. Have you seen that guy? He's a street performer. You haven't seen it? He's the best street performer ever. He's just got buckets and he does jumping. Unbelievable. And my kids love it. And I say, you know how much discipline, how many hours of practice. So my kids, they start this, I want to learn the keyboard. So they learn it for 2 weeks and then they stop. No, I don't blame them, it's age appropriate behavior. I'm just saying. So one of my kids said, can you get me a drum kit? And I said, if I see you practicing on the pillows for 6 months, and I go, yeah, okay. Well, I'm not getting a drum kit and then you're not going to use it. You should, and they obviously didn't. So but if they did, I would. So if you can show me that you have koach and netzach, just keep going, even when I don't feel like it, then I'll break down. Sefirat HaNetzach, when Hashem is Netzach, He's teaching us that we have to hold firm. We've got to be strong. What we know to be true. This is true. I'm going to do what's true. Everyone's telling me I'm wrong. Everything. No, you've got to make sure that what you think is true. But I'm going to hold firm to my principles. I'm not going to be everyone. All my friends are stealing stuff from the shop. Come on, everyone's doing it. Netzach. No, I'm not doing it. I'm doing that. I'm sticking to my principles. So what is the avodah in Netzach? Litakesh lachzik b'avodas Hashem. When Hashem gives you this power of Netzach, and the light of Hashem, the spiritual light, is coming down to you. You can trust yourself and Hashem. Do you show up for yourself? Do you trust yourself?
Yes.
If I want to get up in the morning, I know I'll get up in the morning. I can rely on myself. I show up for myself all the time. I don't want to do that negative behavior, that habit, and I know that I'll reach for my phone and then I'll be like, no, I'm not going to do it. So Netzach and Emunah go hand in hand. I can trust someone who I know is consistent, including myself. If I have this power of Netzach, I know. And it's also, people trust you. People trust you. I'm very good, I'm very disciplined, thank God, martial arts. So in my shul, on Rosh Hashanah for example, they asked me to daven Pesukei Zimra, because he knows for a fact that I'm going to be there. He knows he can rely on me. I'll set 2 alarms, but he knows. And that makes you also have self-respect. Because like, I can rely on myself. I know I'm going to show up for myself. But then it also gives you ne'emanut in Hashem. When Hashem shows up for you, then you start trusting Hashem. Now it's very difficult because sometimes Hashem doesn't show up for you. Like, yeah, well, we really do. So then you have different type of emunah. But this is how you build emunah and trust consistently. Maybe Netzach, another way to translate it is consistency. I'm just showing up for my wife and kids. And this is the number one power you need to beat your Yetzer Hara. Now your Yetzer Hara is your negative mind, basically. And it has 2 main jobs. One is to make you fall. Make you go down, fall, do things you shouldn't be doing. Also beat yourself up when you don't deserve to beat yourself up. That's also a Yetzer Hara. People think that's quite holy. It's not holy. The Yetzer Hara also makes you despair. Makes you think, I'll never be able to beat this, I'll never be able to change. So the Yetzer Hara is there to make you fall. And the other job of the Yetzer Hara is to prevent you growing. Similar thing. One is pushing you to do bad stuff. And the other is preventing you from doing good stuff. Come on, you need to rest a bit, don't need to get out of it. That's the Yetzer Hara job. The number one power you need to beat the Yetzer Hara is, and that's why it's called Netzach, and the Yetzer Hara is, I'm just not listening to you, man. I really want to do that thing, but I know it's wrong, I'm not doing it. Lenat, action and stubbornness. Which means when your Yetzer Hara says something to you, you're stubborn. You're like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just not listening. Part of being stubborn is I'm not listening to you. Your opinion doesn't mean anything to me. He's so stubborn. What does that mean? He won't hear anyone else's opinion. He's so stuck in his own opinion. So that's a good thing when it's the Yitzhara. I'm so stuck in my opinion that I want to serve Hashem, I'm just not listening to you. So that's akshanot de kedusha, holy stubbornness. Holy stubbornness. To not listen to the Yitzhara and everything it says to you, I'm saying I've got one driving factor in my life. We talked about kavanah this morning. I only have one kavanah, one driving factor in everything I do all the time. What is that? Do the right thing.
Ah, that's right.
Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. And God is the answer to how do I know what's the right thing. Do the right thing. What's the right thing to do in this situation? Is that right? Then people say, well, how do I know what the right thing to do is? About 95% of the time you know, you just don't do it. And the other 5% you have to talk to people and research it. It's written on my father's gravestone, Alav Shalom, do the right thing. Always do the right thing. My daughter had an interview to get into a high school, one of the most difficult high schools to get into in Jerusalem, and therefore in Israel. Very prestigious high school. And in the interview, the teacher said, what is one power you have? What's one of your attributes? And my daughter said, well, my grandfather always told me, just always do the right thing. She got it. Wow. They love that. It's very chazak. What can you say this? You're going to stand up with stubbornness and chutzpah. Chutzpah. You know, there's a chutzpah to kedusha. There's chutzpah to kedusha. With a ne'emanut. What does ne'emanut mean? We learned some awesome words today. Ne'emanut, related to the word emunah. Ne'emanut means loyalty.
Oh, I was going to say faithful.
Faithful. That is the same thing. Faithfulness. Loyalty. I'm faithful to my wife. I'm loyal to my wife. Exactly. That's why it's the same roots as emunah. Faithful. It's faithful. I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my wife. Okay, and she knows that. We got the best looking woman in the world after my wife. Walks into the room. My wife knows I'm not having eye contact. I'm not thinking about her. And that's great for your marriage because she feels safe. She knows I teach in this seminaries and she had no, and I don't, and she can trust me because I don't. I'm just going to do Ratzon Hashem. Against all of the opportunities and explanations, we're very good at justifying what we want to do. Yeah, come on, I need to sleep a little bit longer because I'm a bit tired, and if I don't get out of bed. Now, by the way, sometimes that is the right thing to do. I'm not saying it, but in general it's not. If you set your alarm for a certain time, that is the time you want to get up. So if your Yitzhara is saying to you in the morning, but really you need a bit more sleep, that you've got to be very careful to listen to that. Could be, but then generally, unfortunately, or fortunately, for champions like you guys, you like this. If you have a choice, a decision to make, the right one usually takes a lot more effort.
Talking about girls?
Everything. Smoke the cigarette or not smoke the cigarette. Eat the cake or not eat the cake. Watch the thing you shouldn't watch. Or be with the girl or not be with the girl. Get out of bed or stay in bed. We could give you a billion examples. The right one is harder to do.
Yeah.
The easy thing is easy to do. The temporary physical pleasure is actually quite easy. Watch that, touch that, smoke that, eat that. Whereas the right thing, not easy to do. However, one consequence of that is that you don't grow, because you only grow from overcoming challenges. So if the right thing to do usually takes a lot more effort, it's great for a few reasons. Firstly, because you do the right thing. Secondly, you have self-respect and you trust yourself. But secondly, you grow as a person. Because if you do something that you didn't put effort into, you're not growing. That pizza is not making you grow. There's no effort in pizza. Now, and you've got to know, by the way, and we'll talk about hard, when to hold back. So you always got to have a balance. So you have to know that day when you are sick and you do need to stay in bed, don't use your Netzach in the wrong way. Don't be like, I'm going to overcome this and then completely kill yourself. That's also not. You've got to have self-care. One of my favorite stories, although I think about it, it's a bit stupid. Napoleon was in bed in some tent in Russia, freezing cold, and he woke up in the middle of the night and he was thirsty. And he said, I want a drink, but to have a drink I've got to go outside in the freezing cold to the well. I don't want to get out of it, my bed's quite warm. Then he suddenly said to himself, it's actually a stupid story, but I like it. He said to himself, I'm meant to be a leader and I can't get out of bed because it's cold. I'm thirsty, I won't even drink when I'm there just because it's a bit cold outside, you idiot. He had no self-respect, so he got out of bed. Went out in the cold, got the water, and then before he drank he said, what's wrong with me? I got out of bed in the freezing cold just because I was a bit thirsty. Can't I deal with a bit of thirst? I could have just gone back to sleep. Put the water back, went back to sleep. Now I don't know if that's a stupid story or an awesome story. Somewhere in between.
Somewhere
I just like that he thinks like that. That's how you should think, but not over analyze. That's not what I think. It's like freezing mikveh, that's why it's good. You want to hit the freezing one. The warm one's nice, good, but so I don't want to get in here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want this. And then you do it, you overcame it. Overcame something. It's good for you. Cold water and mikveh. But freezing mikveh, good. And then you can get in the hot one. And then back in the cold. Always finish with cold. At least start with freezing in the shower. Have a warm shower and then for the last 30 seconds freezing. Very good. This power comes when you don't have meichin or hargasha. Meichin means intellect, hargasha means emotion, feeling. So when I'm not feeling it, basically, I'm not connected, I'm not feeling it, but I do it anyway because I know it's the right thing to do. Immense self-respect. And you don't feel your love for Hashem, and you don't feel Hashem's love for you. But you already have this relationship with Hashem. So then you have ne'emunah. Then Hashem can rely on you. When I'm not feeling connected to my wife, I don't go and flirt with other women because I need some kind of emotional. That's disgusting. So this is exactly when I'm not feeling it, and then still do the right thing. Because I'm not letting my emotions control me. And this is real Stoicism. Nowadays in English, Stoicism has been misused. The Stoics weren't like this. Stoicism in England is stiff upper lip, no emotions, detached. That's not actually what the Stoics were. They were great, but they did say, I'm not going to be controlled by the external world. Doesn't mean I'm going to be detached from the external world. But I'm not going to be completely all over the place. The weather, the girl, the sports result, the this, things going my way, things not going my way, things praising me, people insulting me. I'm not going to be like completely a puppet to the external world. We're going to have such a healthy, strong sense of self that I'm going to do things, say, do and feel what's the right thing to do in that time. So really, if you want to be a tzaddik, you just have to ask yourself, what would a tzaddik think, say and do in this situation? And then just think, say and do those things. For the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, think to yourself, what would a tzaddik think, say and do in this situation? And then think, say and do those things. Then you'll be a tzaddik. Because it's כבר הופך להיות מונח בתוך טבעו. Now that I love my wife, you work on it. That's part of me now. So when I'm not feeling it, I don't question it. I just say I'm just not feeling it at the moment. But it's part of me. So once I believe in Hashem, and I believe in the Torah, and I believe I'm doing the right thing, so when it doesn't feel good, I don't just throw it all away and say, well, I don't want to do this anymore because it doesn't suit me. I still turn up for work. You've got to turn up for work. Can't not turn up for work. Because I have ne'emanot, and then through that I will connect back to the relationship that it was. And this is actually where you grow. When it's all feeling good with my wife, that's amazing, and it should 80-90% of the time. But when do we grow as a couple? And it's not feeling so good, and then we communicate about it, and we talk about it, and growth comes through challenge. So if there's no challenge, no good. But you don't want it all to be challenged. I've got these two people dating, and they should not be dating anymore. They only should be getting married. And they're arguing the whole time. They can't communicate. The whole time, not the same ones. They're arguing all the time. And then they come to my house, and I talk to them, and they're both crying, and they're just going around the same issues over and over again. They can't communicate. And I said to them, I just don't think you should be together. And they said, but you have to work on a relationship. And I said, yeah, but not that much. It should be 90% work and 10% enjoyable. It should be 85% enjoyable and then 15% work. Of course you need to. Your whole relationship is work. That's not healthy. See what happens.
Did they end up married?
Not yet. I have a couple that I told them not to get married, and they did get married. And she came to me a month later and said, I know you're going to say I told you so. And I said, I'm not. But I don't, I want to. But they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. But I said, look, come to me more. I could have cut them out of my life then. I said, look, didn't I said, look, I support you.
Shabbos. Thanks, Brad. Shkoyach.
Ay, ay, ay.